Good day, Chief here. Today I'm going to try to talk about a bunch of stuff, whatever comes across my mind. As I said last week, I did talk about that my next assignment would be South Korea. I went through a couple majors that were in charge of me. The first one was in charge of me, would berate me verbally. But every time he had to write my OER, my officer evaluation report, I walked on water. But he would berate me. One time he told me, he says, "You're using your kids as an excuse not to work." And I said, "Excuse me, sir?" He says, You're taking time off to take your kids to the doctor." "Well, yeah, because the doctors work the same hours we do, sir." "Well, why don't you get your wife to do that?" "Sir, obviously you don't know much about me. I'm not married." Oh. So that ended that conversation. And then, like I said last week, when I was told that there's a tasking and you better take it because I don't want it. Right after I was informed by her that we had this tasking, I got called down to the battalion, and the battalion commander said, "Yes, we have this tasking," and they already heard from her that she didn't want it, that it was coming to me. I guess she called them right away and said, "Oh, he's taking it, not me." So they called me down and they were like, "Well, we don't want you to go." And I'm like, "Well, I want to go because I'm going over there." And I said, "I want to get away for a while and do something else, you know." And they're like, "Well, are you going over there to avoid Major so-and-so?" I go, in a way, yes, and in a way, no. I want to go. "Okay, we'll not fight you any longer. You're going to go. And oh, by the way, when you get back, Major so-and-so will be gone." Well, little did I know, I will catch up to Major so-and-so in South Korea. But he won't be in charge of me over there. But we'll talk about that situation when I get over there. So I dug around and I was actually surprised. I was looking for my other beret, but I found my original beret, and it's got the CW2. I don't remember if I was a 1 or a 2 when we were at Fort Lewis, and they said, "Okay, we are switching to the beret. Everybody's going to wear a black beret." And of course that pissed off some of the other organizations like the Rangers, because the Rangers were already wearing a black beret, so they went to a tan one. Now here's a funny story. When I first joined the military, I heard a rumor that some MI personnel were pushing that all the military intelligence, or the military intelligence corps of the United States Army, they wanted to get a beret. Now, the only trouble with our beret is that it is the same, almost the same shade of blue as the United Nations beret. So therefore, everybody would say, "You guys might be mistaken for UN troops when you're over here," and all that. So they didn't. I think that was one of the criteria why they didn't want to single out. But then I was thinking, why do you want to single out the guys that are collecting? I'll leave it at that. But while I was at Fort Lewis, we sat down one day. We can't remember if this was issued to me. I think this was issued to me. Yeah, I didn't have to buy the first one. So I actually got one that was made in, let's see, I guess that tag is gone. I think mine was actually made in the United States. Now I know that when they decided to go to the Black Beret, they were in short supply. And they were having trouble with the leather because there's a leather band here. And once you get it adjusted to your head, there's a couple ties, and then you tie it into a knot, then you burn the knot so it stays on your head. So there was trouble with the leather band stateside. And then they ordered a whole bunch of them from China. And that caused a big hullabaloo because there was a lot of soldiers that were complaining like, "I'm not going to wear something that was made in China. I live in the United States." And I remember going to the PX and places like that, and sometimes you'd see the little American flags made in China. Really. Yeah, I don't like that one either. But let's see if this still fits my noggin. This has got my CW2 rank as it. I left Fort Lewis as a CW2. Oh, wow. Yeah, this has been in storage and it's kind of a little dirty. But let's see if it still fits my noggin. So we had, like I said, we had an all-day class. They taught us how to shave this. I think this is the only one I shaved because it got to be a little bit of a problem, and a lot of us said, well, we're not that super hua that we're going to. Looks like it's, nope, it's a little too tight, so it's not fitting my noggin the way it should. But yeah, it fits barely. I'll continue talking in the BDU cap. I prefer this thing over that thing anyway, because that thing got to be a heck. I mean, it was easier to store. It was easier to carry because, you know, you carried it the way you wear it, and then you always folded it. And that way, this was always permanently folded. And you could tell when some people shaved it too much because there would always be little holes in the top because they would sit there and shave it too close, and they would tear the top, and you'd see people take it off and drop it down, and it was like, yeah, you can see sunlight through it. You need to get a new one. So I didn't have that problem. So like I said, this is my original. I'm surprised it was just laying in my closet. I thought it was buried in my war chest, but I guess not. Maybe my 4 is. So there. So like I said, I had trouble with a couple majors. The first major was like the one that berated me all the time. Well, right after I came back from vacation and was told I was going to South Korea for a year, our brigade commander said that his brigade, the MI brigade, will run the combined federal campaign for 2001. And we all know what happened in 2001. But that has nothing to do with it. And at that same time, like I said, my partner was on her way out the door, flying. Yeah, flying. So I got shifted out of my section because I couldn't work, because my duty was, I got selected to work along with 2 captains, a sergeant first class, 2 or 3 specialists. We were the combined federal campaign committee to organize everything that we needed to do for the combined federal campaign, the CFC, for 2001. So that was my duty from midsummer to the time I left there, because we were still doing that until I left. And the new major that took over me, the guy was a nice guy, but he was a hard charger, and he wanted to see me. And I said, sir, I don't work here anymore, so to speak. My desk is now across posts in the basement, because that was our office. They gave us this office that was in the basement. They said, this is yours for the CFC. They gave us computers, they gave us everything that we needed. We had to organize luncheons, we had to organize all the activities and everything else. And in the middle of all that, that's when 9/11 happened. And so we got a lot of pledges from the combined federal campaign. But when people give to one organization, generally that it stays within that state or that region. So everybody thought that they were giving money that was going to be used back east, and that wasn't it. And we even explained it to them. You're sure you want it? Because we had a couple soldiers, they just gave more than their fair share, and we actually had to counsel them, and they said, nope, I want to give that, because they did it. Most soldiers do it by increment payments, so it's little every month, and this was quite a bit for beginning soldiers, but they swore that they didn't care. They were willing to give that much. Most of the activities were a success. The only one that failed, and I forgot to find it, was the CFC division-wide or post-wide run. Nobody signed up for it because it was supposed to happen after 9/11 happened, so everybody's interest was not on running around the posts. So I've got the streamer that I was supposed to award to the winning unit or group or whatever. So I've got the streamer. I've had it, and every time I look at it, I'm like, yep, the run that never happened. One of the captains was a total worthless. Seriously, he was worthless. We couldn't let him do anything by himself. He would mess it up. We'd have everything planned. He would go over there and mess things up. So we had to keep him under control, me and the E7. We really did. I got a call because the day of the bowling competition, they're like, Chief, you got to get over here. Captain so-and-so he's trying to screw everything up. So I got over there, and I was the one that had to tally up all the points and see who took first, second, and third place. I don't remember what they got. But so this major, the second major, he was in charge of writing my end of tour award. Once again, list of things that I've done, because I didn't accept any awards while I was there, and I was there for a good 3 years. Yeah. Didn't get recognized for a lot of stuff. I was really upset. And then the captain, who was in charge of me, was really, really nice. He says, Chief, you should have let me wrote your end of tour award. He says, you would have got something higher than what you got. I'll talk about that later. So that's it about Fort Lewis, I think. I'll have to think. But, I mean, I had fun doing the Combined Federal Campaign. Got to meet a lot of people. Nobody really famous. Of course, the general. Had to answer to him quite a bit. And we're I-Corps, so we're looking at a 3-star general. So we were answering to a 3-star general as to all the activities, along with the 2-star that ran the division there. But the 3-star was in charge. So this chief out, not much, just simple stories. Started wearing the beret permanently. Prefer this. And still in BDUs at this time, because I've had somebody ask me, did you wear the ACUs? Well, can you wait until I get there? Yes, I wore the ACUs. So, I don't know if I said it last week. Good news. My fiance wrote me. She's alive. I'm going to see what I can do to try to get her here. But if not, have to wait till the war is over with. So, Chief out. Remember, freedom's not free. Pray for Ukraine. I know they're going to win, but they lack superior equipment over the old Soviet and the, I guess you would call it, the first or second generation Russian equipment, because we're finding out that the Russian equipment is not as good as they claimed it was. And once again, everybody was scared of the number 2 army in the world. And now, even though he hasn't declared a war and shipped, all 900,000 of his troops to fight, because he can't declare a war yet for some odd reason, we're finding out once again that the Soviet soldier, the Russian soldier, is not all that well trained, is not all that good. So, Chief out. Remember, freedom's not